Welcome, dear listeners, to the shadowy realm of our scary stories. You have ventured into a place where reality bends and nightmares breathe. Tonight's tale takes us beyond the looking glass, into the eyes of the unknown. What you see may not be what it seems, what you know may be unmade. Sit back, dim the lights, and let your imagination wander as we explore the alien in the mirror. The door to the unknown is creaking open. Dare you step inside? Dr. James Norton's eyes flickered open, allowing the dimly lit room to seep into his awareness. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled his nostrils, mingling with a strange, metallic odor he couldn't quite place. He lay on a cold, unyielding bed, encased in crisp sheets that scratched against his skin. The room was unlike any hospital he'd ever seen. Its walls were a luminescent silver, glowing softly with an inner light, casting no shadows. Machines of unknown purpose, their surfaces gleaming and pulsating with strange colors, hummed and whirred around him. A shiver ran down his spine as he tried to piece together where he was and how he'd come to be there. "Ah, Dr. Norton, you're awake," a soft voice said. James turned his head, his neck stiff, to find a woman standing at the foot of his bed. She wore a white coat, her hair pulled back into a tight bun, her eyes hidden behind dark, reflective glasses. "I'm Dr. Zara," she continued, a smile touching her lips, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "You've been in an accident, but you're safe now." James tried to speak, but his throat was dry and words failed him. Dr. Zara poured water from a pitcher, its surface adorned with symbols he didn't recognize, and helped him drink. "The accident," he finally croaked, his mind latching onto her words. "What happened?" "You were badly injured, but we've treated you with the best available technology," she explained, her voice soothing yet somehow distant. "You'll find that everything is in order." As she spoke, James became aware of the strange sensations coursing through his body. His limbs felt weightless, his mind sharp but oddly detached. He raised a hand, expecting to see scars or bandages, but found only smooth, unblemished skin. "What is this place?" he demanded, his voice gaining strength. "What have you done to me?" Dr. Zara's smile faltered, and for a moment, James thought he saw a flash of concern in her eyes. She recovered quickly, her expression smoothing into practiced calm. "This facility is equipped with cutting-edge technology," she said, her voice never wavering. "You were brought here because we believed we could save you, and we have." James wasn't convinced. The room, the machines, the very air felt alien. He was filled with an unsettling combination of gratitude and dread. He knew something was wrong, something more than his accident and miraculous recovery. "Rest now, Dr. Norton," Dr. Zara urged, her voice taking on a hypnotic quality. "You're safe, and you'll be released soon." As she turned to leave, James caught a glimpse of something in the reflection of her dark glasses. His own eyes, wide with fear and confusion, stared back at him, but something else lurked behind them. Something cold, distant, and utterly foreign. He was left alone with his thoughts, the unsettling feeling that he was being watched settling over him like a dark cloud. The strange machines continued their constant hum, the metallic scent in the air growing stronger, and the walls seemed to close in around him. As sleep began to claim him, James's mind clung to a terrifying thought. He was not alone in his body. Something else, something inhuman, was awakening within him. And it was hungry. James's return to his daily life was anything but smooth. The accident, his miraculous recovery, and the lingering doubts about what had truly happened at the facility gnawed at him, turning his once familiar world into something strange and unsettling. His home, a modest two-story house on Willow Avenue, seemed both welcoming and foreign as he stepped through the front door. The scent of fresh flowers from the garden met his nostrils, yet it was tainted with a hint of something metallic that he couldn't shake. His wife, Sarah, and his teenage son, Ethan, greeted him with hugs and tears. Their warmth was a balm to his troubled soul, but even their familiar faces seemed to hold a shadow of something else, something hidden. "Are you feeling all right, Dad?" Ethan asked, his voice filled with concern as they sat down to dinner. The aroma of roast chicken filled the air, but to James, it seemed tainted, altered somehow. "I'm getting there, Ethan," James replied, forcing a smile. "It's just taking some time to adjust." Sarah reached across the table, taking his hand in hers. "We're here for you," she said, her eyes filled with love and worry. "Whatever you need." He smiled back, but his mind was elsewhere. His skin felt too tight, his senses too sharp. The clatter of silverware on plates grated on his ears. The taste of the food was off, and the very air seemed charged with an energy he couldn't define. As the days wore on, the nightmares began. Visions of alien landscapes filled his dreams, landscapes filled with towering structures and impossible geometries. Shadows moved in the distance, whispers filled the air, and eyes, cold and unfeeling, watched him from the darkness. He would wake in a cold sweat, the images fading but the terror remaining, a clawing sensation in the pit of his stomach that something was terribly wrong. His physical changes were subtle at first. His eyes, once a warm brown, began to take on a greenish hue. His strength grew, and his reflexes became unnaturally quick. He found himself understanding things, concepts, and ideas that had once been beyond his grasp. "It's like a second chance," James, his best friend, Mark, said one day as they met for coffee. The cafe's aroma was rich and inviting, but to James, it held a bitterness he couldn't explain. "You've been given a new lease on life. Embrace it." But James couldn't shake the feeling that this second chance came at a price. Dr. Zara's face would flash in his mind, her hidden eyes, her controlled voice, and the facility's pulsing machines. He began to feel a growing disconnect from humanity. Conversations seemed shallow, emotions felt distant, and a cold logic began to take over his thoughts. One night, as he stood before the bathroom mirror, he saw it. His reflection, once familiar, now held something else. A flicker of something inhuman, a glimpse of something alien lurking behind his eyes. Fear gripped him, a cold realization settling in his chest. He wasn't just healing, he was changing, transforming into something else. And the worst part was, he didn't know if he could stop it. He turned from the mirror, his breath coming in ragged gasps, the world around him seeming to shift and warp. The walls of his home, the faces of his family, the very fabric of his existence were unraveling, revealing something more, something sinister. The battle to retain his humanity had begun, and it was one he feared he might not win. The transformation, once slow and creeping, began to accelerate. James found himself drawn to knowledge he had never sought before, complex scientific theories, ancient texts, and foreign languages. His mind absorbed them with an ease that was both exhilarating and terrifying. His family noticed the change, too. Sarah's smiles became strained, her eyes clouded with confusion and fear. Ethan's questions grew more persistent, his concern turning to alarm. "You're different, Dad," Ethan said one evening, his voice trembling. "Your eyes, your voice, the way you move. What's happening to you?" "I don't know, Ethan," James replied, his own voice tinged with a cold detachment he couldn't control. "But I'm going to find out." He knew he had to return to the facility. The answers lay there, hidden in its gleaming walls and mysterious machines. Dr. Zara's face haunted his thoughts, a key to a puzzle he had to solve. But how to get there? The location was a blank spot in his memory, obscured by shadows and fear. His research led him to hidden forums, conspiracy theories, and whispered rumors of government cover-ups and alien technology. The facility, it seemed, was part of something much larger, something that reached into the highest levels of power. Determined to uncover the truth, James sought out those who claimed to know. He met with whistleblowers and rogue scientists, piecing together a map to the hidden facility. His obsession grew, consuming him. He spent hours locked in his home office, poring over documents, connecting dots, and unraveling a web of secrets. Sarah's pleas for him to stop, to return to them, fell on deaf ears. The once warm and loving husband and father was slipping away, replaced by something cold, driven, and relentless. Finally, the day came. James stood before the entrance to the facility, hidden deep within a remote forest. Its silver walls glinted in the sunlight, and the hum of its machinery reached out to him, calling him home. With a grim determination, he entered, the doors sliding open with a whisper, welcoming him back. The interior was as he remembered, sterile and glowing, but now it held a new sense of purpose. His eyes, now a vivid green, saw things he hadn't noticed before. Symbols on the walls spoke to him, telling him stories of distant worlds and ancient civilizations. He found his way to a room filled with strange devices and a large mirror-like screen. As he approached, the screen flickered to life, showing him images of other planets, other beings, and other dimensions. A voice spoke, not with sound but directly into his mind. It was Dr. Zara, her words now clear and filled with meaning. "Welcome back, James," she said, her voice resonating within him. "You are ready now. ready to become what you were meant to be. Fear and understanding battled within him. The technology that had saved him was not just alien, it was alive, sentient. It had chosen him, guided him, and transformed him. He was part of something greater, something that transcended human understanding. A plan, a destiny that reached across the stars. But at what cost? His humanity was slipping away, replaced by something else. The faces of his family flashed in his mind, their love and fear a distant memory. He stood at the edge of a precipice, a choice before him. Embrace the transformation and the knowledge it brought, or fight to remain human, to return to his family, to his old life. The facility waited, its machines humming, the screen beckoning. The choice was his, and his alone. The battle for his soul had reached a turning point, and the outcome was far from certain. The hidden truths of the facility began to unravel before James's eyes. Dr. Zara, communicating through the alien technology, guided him through hallways and chambers filled with mysterious devices. Each room held a piece of a puzzle that was both wondrous and horrifying. "You have become a bridge, James," Dr. Zara's voice echoed in his mind, calm and relentless. "A bridge between our world and theirs." As he explored deeper, James discovered chambers holding others like him, people in various stages of transformation, their bodies and minds altered by the alien technology. A room filled with crystalline pods revealed human subjects, their faces twisted in agony or frozen in a state of euphoria. The pods were connected to a network of pulsing lights and shimmering energy, all feeding into a central core. He realized with a chilling clarity that the facility was not just experimenting with alien technology. It was a living organism itself, using human beings as fuel, as conduits to reach across dimensions. His own transformation was not a gift or a miracle. It was a manipulation, a way to bind him to this otherworldly entity. And the entity had plans that spanned galaxies and eons. "You were chosen, James," Dr. Zara continued, her voice growing more insistent. "You can help us understand, help us connect. We can explore the universe together." Images filled his mind, visions of distant worlds, ancient civilizations, and cosmic wonders. The knowledge was seductive, pulling at him with an irresistible force. It promised understanding, enlightenment, and power. But at the core of it all lay a darkness, a hunger that was neither human nor alien. It was something else, something ancient and malevolent. He could feel it now, its tendrils reaching into his mind, its voice whispering promises and lies. "You can be part of something greater," it cooed, its voice like silk. "Embrace your destiny, James. Embrace us." The horror of it struck him then, a terror so profound it threatened to shatter his sanity. This entity, this being, was not just using him, it was consuming him. His very soul was at stake. With a cry, he broke free from its grasp, stumbling back, his mind reeling. "No!" he screamed, his voice echoing through the facility. "I won't be part of this. I won't be your slave." He knew then what he had to do. He had to destroy the facility, sever the connection, and stop the entity's insidious plan. His path became a blur, guided by instinct and desperation. He found the core of the facility, a pulsing heart of energy and light. Its power reached out to him, beckoning, tempting, but he resisted. With all the strength and will he had left, he sabotaged the connections, disrupted the energy flow, and set the core to overload. Alarms wailed, lights flashed, and the entire facility began to shake. The entity's screams filled his mind, a howl of rage and loss that threatened to tear him apart. He ran, his legs carrying him through twisting corridors and past nightmarish chambers. The walls groaned and cracked as the facility began to implode, the entity's wrath a physical force. He reached the exit just as the core exploded, a blast of light and energy that consumed everything. The facility collapsed, its secrets buried, its connection severed. James stood among the ruins, his body battered, his mind scarred, but his soul intact. He had won, but at a terrible cost. The knowledge he had gained, the truths he had uncovered, would haunt him forever. He knew now that he was part of a cosmic battlefield, a struggle that spanned time and space. And though he had defeated one foe, he knew others awaited, hidden in the shadows, watching and waiting. He turned away from the destruction, a newfound purpose burning in his eyes. He would fight, he would resist, and he would protect those he loved. His battle to retain his humanity had become a war that he was determined to win. James's return home was fraught with uncertainty. The battle at the facility had left him altered in ways he couldn't fully comprehend. Though he had resisted the alien entity's pull, fragments of its influence lingered in his mind. His body had changed as well. Though he still looked human, there was an otherworldly quality to his eyes, a fluid grace in his movements, and an unsettling resonance in his voice. The mirror reflected an image of James, but he knew that something else lurked beneath the surface. His family awaited him, and the reunion was bittersweet. Sarah's eyes widened when she saw him, a mixture of joy and trepidation in her gaze. Ethan ran to him, tears in his eyes, but halted when he got closer, sensing that his father was different. The days that followed were a delicate dance of love, fear, and understanding. James tried to explain what had happened, but words failed him. How could he convey the terror and wonder of what he had experienced? How could he describe the alien landscape of his own mind? Sarah and Ethan tried to understand, tried to accept the new reality, but doubt lingered. Late at night, James would hear Sarah crying, her sobs a testament to the loss of the man she once knew. Ethan, too, was affected. He watched his father with curious and wary eyes, torn between love and fear. The father who had taught him to ride a bike, who had read bedtime stories and kissed scraped knees, was now a stranger. Yet, amidst the uncertainty, there were moments of connection. Moments when the old James shone through, his love and warmth a balm to their wounded hearts. They laughed, they hugged, they reminisced, and for brief moments, they were a family again. But the shadows of the past were never far away. James's nightmares were vivid and relentless, filled with images of otherworldly beings, distant galaxies, and a darkness that sought to consume him. He would wake up drenched in sweat, his heart pounding, the alien knowledge that had been implanted in his mind a constant reminder of what he had become. His days were spent researching, seeking to understand the full extent of the alien technology's influence, and discovering ways to keep it at bay. He knew that he was not alone. Others had been affected, and the government's involvement was deeper and more sinister than he had ever imagined. The battle at the facility was just the beginning, a small skirmish in a war that spanned across dimensions. He reached out to those who had helped him before, forging new alliances and preparing for what lay ahead. He knew that he was now part of something bigger, a soldier in a fight that transcended earthly concerns. Yet, despite the cosmic stakes, it was the human connections that mattered most. His love for his family, his determination to protect them, became his anchor, his strength. He watched them one night, Sarah and Ethan, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of the fireplace, love and warmth in their eyes. They were his world, his reason to fight, his reason to endure. He knew that he could never return to the man he once was, but he also knew that he could still be a husband, a father, a human being. The battle for his soul was not over, but he had taken a crucial step. He had chosen love over fear, humanity over power, and in doing so, he had reclaimed a part of himself. He was ready for what lay ahead, ready to face the unknown, and ready to defend the ones he loved. For he knew now that the true strength of a man was not in his abilities or his knowledge, but in his heart. The final chapter of James's story unfolds not as a conclusion, but as a new beginning. A world he once knew is replaced by a landscape of mystery, danger, and potential. With the support of his family and the alliances he has forged, James delves into the shadowy world of government conspiracies, secret societies, and cosmic warfare. The entity he faced at the facility was not an isolated threat, but part of a vast network of otherworldly beings, some malevolent, some indifferent, and some who sought to understand humanity as much as he sought to understand them. His transformation, his connection to the alien technology, becomes both a weapon and a bridge. He discovers that he can communicate with other beings, negotiate with them, learn from them, and even influence them. The world around him changes. Sightings of strange phenomena increase, unexplained events become common, and the line between science and the supernatural blurs. People begin to awaken, their minds opening to possibilities beyond their understanding. Some embrace the change, seeking enlightenment and connection, while others react with fear and violence. Governments and powerful organizations move in the shadows, some seeking to control the technology, some to destroy it, and some to harness it for their own purposes. James becomes a leader, a guide, a warrior, and a diplomat. His actions shape the destiny of humanity, and his choices resonate across dimensions. He faces enemies both human and alien, battles that test his strength, his intelligence, and his integrity. There are victories and defeats, triumphs and tragedies. Yet, through it all, his love for his family, his commitment to his fellow man, remains unshaken. He teaches Ethan not just to understand the universe, but to respect it, to see the beauty and the terror, and to find his place within it. He supports Sarah as she becomes a voice for change, an advocate for those who have been affected, and a beacon of hope and understanding. They face the unknown together, a family united by love, trust, and purpose. The story ends not with a resolution, but with a promise, a glimpse into a future filled with potential and peril. James stands on a hill looking up at the stars, their light a reminder of the vastness of the cosmos and the infinite possibilities it holds. He feels a presence, a connection to something greater, a sense of unity with all life, and a responsibility to protect and guide. The universe is no longer a cold, distant place, but a living, breathing entity filled with wonders and dangers, a place of discovery and conflict, of growth and understanding. He is ready to embrace it, to explore it, to fight for it, and to become a part of it. The alien in the mirror is no longer a stranger, but a reflection of what he has become and what he has yet to be. His journey has only just begun, and the universe awaits, a realm of endless possibility, a challenge, a mystery, and a destiny. The story of James, the alien in the mirror, is a story of transformation, courage, love, and transcendence. It is a tale that speaks to the heart of what it means to be human and what it means to be something more. It is a story that invites us to look beyond our limitations, to reach for the stars, and to become the heroes of our own destiny. It is a story that reminds us that we are not alone, that we are connected, that we are part of a cosmic dance that spans time and space. And it is a story that challenges us to embrace the unknown, to face our fears, and to become the best versions of ourselves. For in the end, the alien in the mirror is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced, a reflection of our potential, our dreams, and our humanity. You've returned from the other side, dear listeners, but the echoes of what you've heard linger in the dark corners of your mind. The alien in the mirror reflects us all, and the unknown beckons, always waiting. Thank you for joining us on this unsettling journey with our scary stories. Sleep tight, for the unfamiliar may watch from the shadows. Until next time, remember, fear is only a story away. This is our Scary Stories signing off for tonight.